Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi, Rod.
Hi, Steve.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I'm at work right now, so I only have like a half hour I can do this. I looked and seen on the meeting it was 4 hours long.
Uh, no, I think if it's 15 minutes long, it's going to be a long time.
Oh, okay. Great.
But it starts at 9:30.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure. Now, do you work for the city or?
No.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
Did you
this is the
shut off your
first one.
camera?
Oh, it keeps going off. I don't know. Is it on now?
Not yet.
Okay, I see a picture of myself. Let me see. Start my video. Okay, starting a video. Okay,
There
can
you
you
go.
see me now? Okay.
Yep. You're back.
Okay. Yeah, so I don't know exactly what's going to happen during this. This was the first one that I've ever been on.
Well, it's the first time for me too. Um, I don't know. I don't know either. But I've got a friend that is works for the zoning board in Cleveland,
Hmm. Okay.
and I contacted her because I got a letter from the
Okay.
zoning board that there was going to be a meeting because there was a property that had some zoning variances that was going to be discussed at the board meeting this morning, and I was curious, and so she sent me this stuff to sign up to it.
Mhm. Okay. So you're a resident around the property?
Yes. Yeah,
Okay,
we
so
live just down the street from it.
okay. Yeah, I live on West 11th, right behind it.
Ah, oh, sure.
Yeah, my backyard is the whole like width of their property
Right.
or whole depth of it.
But yeah, it looks like everyone is coming in.
Okay. Is my face still up on there?
No,
Okay, yeah, my camera keeps shutting off. I don't know why it keeps doing this.
there you're back. So
Can you
there's,
see me?
No.
You can't see me?
I see Willette. Is that your name?
Right. Yes,
Okay, I see
yes.
your name, but I don't see you.
Okay, let's see. How about now?
Nope.
You see it now?
Nope. Just see your name.
Hmm.
there's a
Let me
little
see.
camera.
I
You
see
need to
myself. Let me see.
click on it.
It says start my video. See that. Let me see. I don't want to leave it. Okay. Um, I don't know why you can't see it. Virtual background. Now can you see it?
No.
No? Let's see. I'm trying to figure out this little thing here. Okay, camera. Well, it does say camera off. Let me see, start my video. Okay, can you see
I
me
see your.
now?
Yep,
Yes.
Oh, okay.
there you are.
Okay, Liz, it's 9:30. You can get started.
Morning, thank you. My name's Liz Kukla. I'm the Secretary of the Board of Zoning Appeals, and I'm going to read the preamble for you this morning, this Monday, February 13th, 2023. In compliance with notification requirements of the city's open meeting law in section 101.021 of the codified ordinances of Cleveland, Ohio, 1976, notice of this meeting has been publicly posted. All boards and commissions under the purview of the City Planning Department conducts its meetings according to Robert's Rules of Order. Actions during the meeting will be taken by voice vote. Abstentions from any vote due to a conflict of interest should be stated for the record prior to the taking of any vote. In order to ensure that everyone participating in the meeting have the opportunity to be heard, we ask that you use the raise hand feature before asking a question or making a comment. The raise hand feature can be found in the participants panel on the desktop and mobile version and activated by clicking the hand icon. Please wait for the chair or facilitator to recognize you and be sure to select unmute and announce yourself before you speak. When finished speaking, please lower your hand by clicking on the raise hand icon again and mute your microphone. We will also be utilizing the chat feature to communicate with participants. The chat feature can be activated by clicking the chat button located on the bottom of the WebEx screen. Please note that calling users can unmute by using *6. All meeting activity is being recorded via the WebEx platform. These proceedings are also being live streamed via YouTube for public view. We have provided a link to the meeting for those who wish to speak in a particular case via our website and email. All requests to speak in a particular matter have been considered. We have also received emails from those who have provided written comment on a particular matter. Back to you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. You call the roll, please.
Yes. Ms. Babe?
I am here.
Ms. Roca? Ms. Holzer?
Present.
Ms. Brown?
Present.
Ms. Britt?
Here.
Madam Chair, we have a quorum with 4.
Okay, with just having 4 members, if your case goes 2-2, it goes nowhere. So you are allowed to, when your case is called, if you like a postponement until we have a full complement of board members, you're allowed to do so. Okay. Do we have any council people on?
Madam Chair, we do have 2 postponements this morning.
Oh, we do? Oh, okay, sorry, go ahead.
Sure. Calendar number 23-009 regarding 4630 Broadway Avenue, as well as 23-010 at 4636 Broadway Avenue. Julie Abanbana, owner, proposes to establish use as open outside storage and to install 6-foot-high fence in a C2 local retail business district. The councilman has requested more time to review the plans with the applicant. And Madam Chair, we could do March 13th would give us 30 days. If you'd like to give them longer, March 20th or March 27th, that's also available.
March 20th.
Thank you. March 20th. Okay, so calendar numbers 23-009 and 23-010 will, no testimony will be taken this morning. So if you're here for that case, you do not need to stay. And if you received a paper copy of the notice, you will receive a paper copy of the notice again when the case is rescheduled. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
And Madam
do we
Chair,
have
we
any-
do have Councilwoman Moore on, Rebecca Moore on online this morning.
Okay, well, we'll start with her case.
Great. Good morning, everybody. Our first case is calendar number 22-226. This is at 4750 Hinckley Avenue. Christina McDermott, owner, proposes to erect a 2,776 square foot storage structure for existing greenhouse/warehouse use in an A11 family residential district. The owner appeals for relief from the strict application of the Cleveland Codified Ordinances, as stated in the agenda and the public record, of which there are 2. And this case was postponed on January 9th, 2023 to allow time for the appellant to meet with their council member. And with that, I will hand it over to Ms. Brown for the oath.
Thank you. Good morning. I'm swearing in all who are present for this case.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the whole truth and nothing but the truth? Please raise your hand, reply, I do. State your name and your address, please.
I do. Councilwoman Rebecca Moorer, 601 Lakeside Avenue, room 220.
I do. Lucas Reeve, Executive Director for the Old Brooklyn Community Development Corporation, 4274 Pearl Road.
I do. Brian McDermott, 4750 Hinckley Avenue.
Anyone else? All right.
I do
Madam-
believe I see a couple residents. I don't know if they intend to testify, but if you are a resident on Marcy Drive or a resident on Schaff or in the area and you intend to testify, this would be the time to identify yourself.
Thank you, Councilwoman.
Hi, my name is Tina, and I live at 938 West Schaff.
Hi, I'm Suzanne Manaski.
Tina,
30
what
West Schaff.
one? Thank you, Tina, and whoever just spoke. Please say your full name. Thank you.
Tina Ribnicki at 938 West Schaff.
And sorry, I just want to make sure we don't get tripped up on any technicalities. Can you just affirm the statement that the secretary read in?
You have to say, you say I do, your full name and your address. Thank you so much.
I do. Tina Ribnicki at 938 West Schaff.
Thank you.
I do. Suzanne Manaski, 930 West Schaff.
I do. Melissa Rodrigo at 901 Marcy Drive.
I do. Alan Mornick, 998 Sherrill Drive.
I do. Steve P. Cook, 4761 West 11.
Thank you, everyone. Anyone else? Madam Chair.
I do.
Oh.
I do. Justine Costanzo, 4756 Marcy Drive.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, Madam Chair.
Thank you. History of the property, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. There's been no change in the zoning since 1929. In our Records Administration Office, we were not able to find any records, and there are no variances on file for this address. And in the more recent history, we found that in June of 1999, a permit was issued to demolish a 20 by 20 one-story wood frame building and garage. And that's all that I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Legal standard, please.
Madam Chair, members of the board, appellant is requesting a use variance from the requirements of the zoning code. To obtain the use variance, appellant must prove that denying the request will result in an unnecessary hardship particular to the property such that there will be no economically feasible use of the property without the variance, will deprive the appellant of substantial property rights, and that granting the variance will not be contrary to the purpose and intent of the zoning code.
Thank you. Okay, who will be the spokesperson for this case?
Are you saying from the appellant's end?
Yes.
Yes, I'm Mark Shear. I'm attorney for the Christina McDermott Trust, and I'll be speaking on behalf of the appellant.
Okay, what's your name again?
Mark Shear. That's M-A-R-K, last name Shear, S-H-E-A-R-E-R. And
Okay,
then
go ahead,
I also have with me Brian McDermott.
Okay, yes. Okay, go ahead.
All right, thank you. First, I'd like to address the legal standard that was indicated before we started, and I agree with that legal standard to a certain degree, but I would also ask the board to consider Ordinance 329.03 D2, which indicates that if a structure or a non-conforming use has existed prior to 1929, prior to the code, then the board may grant a variance to that, even if it's an expansion of a non-conforming use.
Miss, hold on, Mr. Chair. Ms.
Sure, of
Kukla
course.
or Mr. Rulins, is that written up on the? Because if it's not, we can't consider it.
No, ma'am, that is not, that section has not been cited, if it should be.
If I may, I submitted a letter with details indicating the purpose of the appeal and the legal arguments and factual arguments upon which the appeal is based, and I cited that very specifically and gave a quotation of that.
I
specific ordinance.
understand what you're saying, sir, but if it's not written up in front of us today, we cannot consider that, is what I'm saying. So.
Okay.
Unless Mr. Riccardi, unless Mr. Riccardi comes with something else, we will proceed with what we have before us.
I mean, I respect that, understand that, but just I wanted to have on the record that it's, it's our appeal and we submitted the basis upon which we were appealing, and that was one of the bases. So I'll proceed to having put that on the record. So
thank you.
What you're looking at right now, and you see I have bait stamps on the documentation. That's bait stamp page number 4 of what I submitted. That's an overhead view. But I don't know if I can ask the person who's is scrolling this to go to certain pages. Is that okay?
Yes.
That would be me. This is Maurice Rulins from City Planning. I don't have page numbers on here, so I can change the slides for you. That's no problem, but you're gonna have to tell me what you want to see.
Okay, there's one that's bait stamped 1, page 1. It's page 1 of the PDF I submitted.
Yeah, I don't see any page numbers.
May I share my screen?
No, you may not. Just tell me what you'd like to see on the screen, and I'll be more than happy to put it on.
The deed.
I don't think I have a deed that was submitted.
It's the very first page of what I submitted.
I don't know that I have what you submitted. Liz, did you send me?
Go to the very first page, please.
This is the first page of what I have.
I don't understand why you don't have what I submitted. And like I said, you see the red bait stamp. That's what I submitted. Things are on the red bait stamp. And when I'm seeing what's scrolling on the left side of the page, those are things I submitted, but there are things that are missing. We'll work with what we have.
So Madam Chair, to the gentleman, you submitted this document to the Board of Zoning Appeals main email address, right? Or
Yes.
did you?
Yes, and of course you're seeing parts of what I submitted, and I don't understand why you're only seeing parts and not the entire thing.
Okay, so the entire thing was submitted electronically. We did have a stack of paper that was submitted to us when the application was made, but I assumed that that everything would have been in that digital documentation that you sent.
Yes, I did it both ways, on paper and electronically as one cohesive PDF with the bait stamps, as you see on the right page, the right side of this page that we're looking at right now. And it was all one cohesive document, 95 pages, bait stamp page 1 through page 95. That's okay. We'll work with what we have.
Ms. Kukla, if you could email that to me, I don't see it in my documents that was sent to me. So if you can email that to me quickly, I can probably get it up on screen.
Sure, let me go to the email. Hold on.
In the meantime, you can proceed with what we have, and then you can figure out what's not available for time purposes.
Sure. So what you're looking at right now is you're looking at the overhead view of what currently exists on the property. And this is after the McDermott's made an improvement. What happened was the McDermott's were receiving some complaints about things being stored in the yard, and they wanted to take care of accommodating requests to have things stored more appropriately. And they agreed that things should be stored more appropriately. What the McDermott's operate on the property is some storage. There we go. Excellent.
There we go.
Thank you.
I found it.
Rock and roll. All right. So what you're looking at here is the deed when the McDermott's took the property. The McDermott's took the property from Robert and Diane Myroniak in 2019. And when they took the property, if we could scroll on down to page 3. When they took the property, the McDermotts did some due diligence to determine the status of the property. And what we're looking at here is the Cuyahoga County Fiscal Officer documentation that everybody can obtain on the internet. And if you look to the right side, it says land use and it says other commercial structures. So McDermott's purchased the property with the understanding that this was a commercial property, that was a continuing non-conforming commercial use, and that they could do what they needed to do with the property on a commercial basis, especially since it's been traditionally taxed as a commercial property. And the other reason we're looking at this document is that we see that the improvements on the property were constructed in 1920. The date of the construction of improvements on the property is relevant because our zoning in Cleveland didn't exist until 1929. And anything prior to 1929 is grandfathered in, is being exempt primarily from the ordinances. And that's why I referenced specifically Ordinance 329.03 D2, which permits the zoning board to grant a continuation of a non-conforming use and even an expansion of a non-conforming use when we have structures on the property that were built prior to 1929. If we could please take a look at page 4 of the PDF. That's the satellite view that Irene indicated that we saw before. As you can see, Hinckley Avenue dead ends at the structure that is newly constructed. It used to expand beyond that. It used to make a right turn, and then when the Jennings was built, they demolished what used to be the continuation of Hinckley Avenue, and it ends right there. If you take a look at this overhead view, the satellite image, you'll see that there is parcel ending in 001. That is a commercial building as well. There's a print shop that's in that commercial building. So we don't have really residential business or buildings on Hinckley Avenue. Hinckley Avenue is primarily commercial usage. Also, as you can see, it's a very large parcel. It's mostly field with trees surrounding the perimeter. The trees help buffer it from the neighborhood that is to the northwest of it, and help buffer it from the Jennings Expressway. And also from the southwest, there's a line of trees. So this is a buffered property. It kind of separates it from everything else around it. There used to be a structure where you see the new structure that's there. So you see a structure with a black roof, and then you see a structure that appears to have more of a white roof. That black roof structure was there. And then there used to be a structure that, as was pointed out before, was demolished in about 1999. That used to be where the current structure, the new structure with the white roof is. If we could then move on to Bait Stamp 5. Yeah, perfect. All right, that shows where the old building footprint used to be. You see the notes I indicate on there. The addition does not expand beyond the prior commercial footprint, and it actually improves the aesthetics in our opinion. You see what used to be there prior to the new structure that we're looking for the permit on and the variance on. That's the footprint that was there when the McDermotts purchased the real estate. That was the footprint from the garage that was demolished in 1999, as we understand it. As you see, there were things that were stored there, and the McDermotts just wanted to improve the aesthetics of the property. If we could go to page 6, please. Thank you. Again, just another shot from a different view so you could see what it used to look like. And just subjectively, from our perspective, the change of the new building improves those aesthetics and improves what used to be there, and shows that we've really not expanded beyond the footprint of the concrete and the footprint of a garage that used to be there. If we could please go to page 8. Thank you. Again, just another view showing the existing commercial footprint of the pavement and what was already being used for commercial purposes. Yes, agreed, that was not, well, it was a structure and then there was no structure, but it's always been concrete and it's always been used for a commercial purpose. So really putting a roof over it, putting walls around it is not really an expansion of the existing use. And if you see in the upper left-hand corner, that gives a date as to when that photograph was taken. I believe it says 2019. I put a note down there. That's a Google Earth shot from March of 2019. prior to when the trust purchased the property. If we could please go to page 9. I don't think that's page 9, but that's okay. We'll talk about this while it's up. So this is a November of 2021. Oh, there you go. Okay, so page 9 and then also page 10, that's marketing material. That's documentation that was on the internet that the McDermott's received and had access to prior to purchasing the real estate. It still is on the internet, it's still up. And if we go to that next page to this, it gives a summary of what the property is and indicates that the property was commercial and that was being sold for commercial purposes.
Okay, Mr. Sheriff.
Yes.
We're here because you all built a structure illegally without a permit, and you're trying to ask for forgiveness now. So I appreciate the history of the property that you're giving us here, but can you just, you know, focus in on the reasonings behind that and you know, and move forward, please.
Okay, we go to page 77. Is that I see that this PDF you're looking at is 13 of 40. I think I had to submit this to you in 2 batches. So there should be a second batch. There you go. Oh, passed it up. Page 70, please. I'm sorry, 77. Thank you. So this is a letter that we received that indicated that the a structure is not permitted in a residential district. So just indicating the purposes why we're here, the type of structure it is. So that just a reminder as to what we're talking about. But again, we believe that this is not an expansion, although that's what the citation is, 359.01, saying that an expansion or enlargement isn't allowed. Again, we don't believe it's an expansion. If we go to page 80, please. Page 80 shows the prior foundation of the garage. It used to be there. That's what the brick is at the bottom there. That's what that concrete is that you're seeing that creates a perimeter around the new structure that's there. Go to the next page, please. Just another indication as to what used to be there and how we're within that, primarily speaking. And if you go to the next page, please. Just another indication, if you see where that concrete is, that's what we're talking about. That's where the old footprint used to be. So again, the argument, we're not really expanding anything here.
I have a question. I'm one of the residents in the neighborhood. My name is Nancy Burke. If this
Ms. Burke, you're gonna have to wait until you're called upon for comment, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Sheriff.
Yes, can we have page 83, please? Thank you. What this letter is an approval letter that the McDermott's received on November 12th of 2021, first approving the zoning and approving the building, approving the structure. That was later revoked, and we don't know why it was revoked. So somewhat of a surprise that things had changed somewhere, somehow. So really, at the end of the day, what we're asking this board to do is not much different than what it seemed to already being in the works, what we presumed was going to be happening. So somewhere at some point, somebody with zoning felt that this was an appropriate structure, an appropriate structure for the type of use, and therefore not much of a difficulty. So we're just asking this board to approve what was already previously approved and for some reason revoked. In terms of practical difficulty, it would be a practical difficulty for the McDermott Trust to not be allowed to have this structure. Obviously, the structure is already built. The McDermott's built the structure because at the time it was the difficulties with COVID. The McDermott's prepared some documents to apply for permits and were unable to submit them because city offices were closed. There was continuing pressure to do something with the property for storage purposes. So they felt they had no choice but to try to proceed as best they could, and then try to submit for permits later, which of course they did follow up and submit documentation for permitting and request for permits. So obviously that creates a practical difficulty. Also, because this has been a continuing non-conforming use of the property, and as we keep saying, it was not an expansion. It does create a practical difficulty and cause them some difficulty for being able to use their property for the purposes for which they've continued to use it, as a commercial plumbing warehouse, really. That property does not have a lot of in and out of people. It's not where employees tend to go to work. The business, Invisible Excavations, has another property on Brook Park Road in Parma where the workers work out of. This is something that is accessed occasionally, so there's not a lot of traffic in and out of that property. There is a tenant on the property as well who shares the use of the property. They also operate a construction, plumbing type related business where they handle issues where people have had flooding in properties. They do a remediation of flooding issues. So they use that for a similar purpose. Again, it's not a place where employees tend to show up for work. It's more a matter of people store supplies and tools there for that business as well. So it would be a practical difficulty for both of those businesses if they can't continue to use the property for its intended purpose and for the purpose for which the McDermott Trust purchased the property. It would be an unnecessary hardship upon the trust, again, because they'd have to remove the building, I suppose, or make some further modifications and reapply. But it would be definitely an unnecessary hardship. And again, just from a practical standpoint, it improves things. It's meant to be an improvement. It's meant to be something where people aren't looking at eyesores of things stored in a yard. And it's meant to be something that's neat and tidy. And that was the whole purpose behind it. If I may, Brian, anything that you would like to add? No. Thank you for your time. We appreciate you listening to us and for considering our application. And we hope that you find that it meets the requirements to grant a variance.
Thank you. I see Mr. Riccardi, you have your hand up.
This is Richard Riccardi, zoning administrator. And there are some points that I just want to address. First of all, right at the beginning of the hearing, and the ordinance section that the appellant, was cited and was talking about, and there was some comments that it wasn't on the notice of nonconformance. What he's talking about is a standard for the board to consider. It's not an additional variance issue. So it was a 32903 deals with the powers of the board, and actually it is in the notice of nonconformance as section 329 is stated, but really that's like a governing rule for the board and not an additional. It's not like saying, well, like a height or area standard. It's a standard for the board. Second, I do want to address something that was said kind of offhand, that an attempt was made to file something before construction was started, and because of COVID, the city offices were closed. I do just want to state that during the entire pandemic, the building department has been open. We've been open for electronic submittal. We've been open for people dropping off plans and applications during it. I know because I was in every day during the pandemic. So while other city departments may have been closed, the Department of Building and Housing was open as an essential office of the city. Secondly, I just want to talk about, and I don't want to mischaracterize this. I hope the appellant is not saying that somehow that it's not an expansion, and that was somehow misstated or wrongfully cited on the application. And he seems to be doing that by showing the former building, which was torn down, and stating that the new building is within the footprint or even smaller than the footprint. I just hope there's an understanding of by all and the appellant that when you have a non-conforming use, such as a building, and you tear it down, that use is gone. You don't have a free rein to build the building again as long as it's in the same footprint. When you remove the building, you remove the use. And that's why the variance is required here today. And I think that's understood, but I just wanted to make that clear. And then finally, I think that also that it's that is well understood, because it's come up before, that county tax records are not dispositive of a legal use of a property. The county's just interested in getting the proper taxation and the maximum taxation for a particular use. The county does not make any effort to see if that use is legal. So if you have a bar in a residential district, the county's going to tax you as a commercial use, as a bar. But what they write on the county website in the tax section is not a use permit to operate that bar. So I think we're all on the same page here, and I think it's clear by the last few statements of the appellant that the variance is required. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Riccardi. Okay, I'm going to call on some residents to speak. So what we do here at Board of Zoning Appeals is that your comments have to be directed about the variances that are asked for before us. So we don't allow personal comments, personal attacks, anything about anybody's business that we don't want to know. We just want to know why you support or do not support the variances that are before us today. So I'll start with Tina Rubigny. You wanted to say something?
Hi, yes, it's Tina Ribnicki. And really I just opposed to it because, as a lot of people had noted, that it is a residential property area, and I have kids that live here, and I have nieces and nephews that come over quite often, and they spend a lot of time here at my house. And I just don't think it would be safe to have some sort of commercial land back there with a lot of stuff going on. And there is a lot of kids that live on this street. There's a family across the street of 6 kids that, you know, are here, as well as my neighbor who sent a letter to you guys. So really that's what it is that it's just not meant for this area, and it's just going to cause too much noise. When I go in my backyard, my property is up high, so I'm at level with the fence, basically a little bit lower. And when I go outside, I see downtown and I see this nice land out there. I don't want to see a bunch of stuff. We're already seeing it with what he has going on back there now. So, and I think there's something going on with the water, because the gentleman that I see in the camera there, he dug up my yard last summer. Not quite sure what he did. He dug up my yard, did something. He spoke about needing to tear my deck down. So I don't know if the water lines are back there is connected to my house or something. I think that's a whole nother topic, but there is some concerns for me personally with my property and the water lines back there. So that's my thoughts on that. And
thank you.
Has some thoughts. Thanks.
Ms. Minoski?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
One of my main concerns is the amount of semis that are constantly going up and down Shaft Road and going back there to deliver supplies, to deliver all the things that he needed to build what he was building. And it is so unsafe. And now these semis are just flying. And there's a sign as big as day that says no semis. They're backing up between my neighbor next door, Mr. Noel's property, and Kinko's. And that's how they get in and out. If they can't get in and out that way, they go all the way down to where the empty property is before the corner and go in that way. We constantly have debris flying where they have their little, I don't even know, not just the semi trucks, but when they're bringing in their stuff, the dump trucks and stuff like that, and stuff is flying all over the place. Years ago, there was a problem with the sewer in front of Tina's house where water was coming out of that sewer. And I called the water department, and they came and they shut it off. After he purchased the property, he and his company went in there and turned it back on. And at that time is when he said that the pipes went all the way down under Tina's deck and was towards his property. But Tina never allowed them to go tear down the deck, so that's another subject. But I do know that there was a problem with the plumbing. So between the semi, the safety, what we have to look at back there is another story. But all of that, I'm totally opposed to any further construction on that property. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Rodrigo?
Thank you for the opportunity. My name is Melissa Rodrigo. I live at 901 Marcy Drive. And I just want to make a quick statement that I oppose the variance of the retro permits until it's confirmed that the sewage that is coming from Mr. McDermott's property does not empty into a catch basin in between my property, 901 Marcy Drive, and 907 Marcy Drive. When I met Mr. McDermott a morning in July of 2021, he was flushing some pipes in the back of, let's see, 889 Marcy Drive. And at this time, we didn't even know that there was a pipe that ran through our backyard. In 2019, the city of Cleveland, the Department of Utilities and the Division of Water Pollution Control came out, and we had some flooding issues going on in our backyard. And they actually told us that there was no pipes located on our property. So when Mr. McDermott that morning told me that his drainage pipe ran through my backyard, I was quite surprised. And I asked him to wait until we could get the city council person involved because they had already been out here for quite some time before. At the time, Mr. McDermott thought that his pipe went up to West 11th. He did not know about the catch basin in between my property and my neighbors. When he was flushing it, a big chunk of debris did come out. So when he made the statement that he could not flush his toilets, something to that effect, I do believe that his sewage is hooked up into a catch basin in between my property and the neighbor's property. I have children. I believe it's an EPA issue, and I don't want sewage in between our local houses here. So I oppose his retro permits. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. I have Mr. Mornick next. Alan?
Good morning. I'm Alan Mornick. I oppose the retro variance as well. I'm a neighborhood resident. I understand the contractor was attempting to tie in his sewer system. I don't believe, our sewer system is engineered to handle the drainage from that property. I'm not sure if any engineering studies were performed or if the city plans to upgrade the water and sewer systems to handle this property. So I believe all that needs to take place to assure the residents aren't flooded and have problems in the future with this sewage and flooding. So I oppose the variance. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. P. Cook next.
Hi, my name is Steve Peacock, and I oppose the variance. My concerns are with the traffic as well through the backyard. My property is on West 11th, and their driveway, they have like a U driveway that goes all the way around, and it comes out closer to West 11th and Shaft, or one end comes out there. That's where all the tractor trailers go in there. And my backyard, my corner of my yard is probably 75 feet away from that road. And I don't think that's a good place to have the trucks running in and out of. I have grandkids and hate for anything to happen. So I oppose it.
Thank you.
Sure.
I have Ms. Costanzo next. Am I saying that right?
Costanzo, yes. I just want to say I'm 4756 Marcy. I strongly oppose this appeals for variance. I have children here. This is a residential area. This is why we live here. And as a resident who's also had a sewage flood in her basement, about 3.5 feet. It's raw sewage in 2017 when a main water line broke. I do not want any extra pipes or sewers or anything else coming this way. So I strongly oppose this.
Great, thank you. All right, that's all I have for residents. Mr. Reed from Old Brooklyn.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members of the board, appreciate your time and review of the case this morning. I think obviously we've all identified that this case centers around the construction of an unpermitted commercial building in a single-family residentially zoned area. I think a number of the neighbors have brought forward, and we're certainly aware at the CDC of some critical questions regarding the construction of this unpermitted building, especially as it relates to some sewer connections that I think at this point in time, we don't know enough about those particular connections to understand the connection between the construction and those issues. But certainly, it's a red flag that's raised that I think needs to be addressed. But I think generally speaking, the Old Brooklyn CDC take on this is that this is a single-family zoned area. This particular commercial use is in the heart of a wonderful neighborhood in Old Brooklyn. Yes, it is adjacent to some commercial uses along the Hinckley Industrial Parkway, which is the proper place for those types of uses, but is separated by the 176 freeway. So we understand that the appellant, it has some additional land here and is contemplating some additional commercial uses potentially in the future. And our plan, neighborhood plan for Old Brooklyn, and certainly for this part of the neighborhood, would very much center around residential development, if anything. So we are here, generally wanting to understand how the construction of this building has potentially led to some other issues in the neighborhood before granting a variance. That's our position, and I appreciate your time this morning.
Thank you. Councilwoman?
Thank you. Good morning to the board and to my colleagues and neighbors along Marcy, West Shaft, and West 11th. I appreciate the board having such a robust hearing and particularly giving an opportunity to hear from residents today. I want to echo what their position that I strenuously oppose this zoning variance. In particular, I want to note that there seems to be a differentiation between a request for a self-storage facility or expanded commercial use. It is clear to me that that would not be the proper use for this particular parcel in the heart of a residential area here in Old Brooklyn. I know the presentation earlier centered on the unpermitted, what they're calling the pole barn. I think what you have heard is that there is well-founded and serious neighborhood concern that due to the lack of permitting and oversight over the property, there could be issues in terms of the sewer hookup. Those, to my mind, and after many conversations, remain unresolved. So I do not support this, I don't support the pole barn being allowed to exist without clarification as to the hookups and the safety of the building itself in the heart of a residential area. And overall, I oppose the variance due to the concern that this owner will expand into extensive commercial use that is not well suited for a residential neighborhood.
Okay, thank you, Councilwoman. Mr. Scherer, I'll give you a little bit time to rebut these, but not a lot of time. So go ahead.
Appreciate it.
Yes.
If I may ask Mr. McDermott some questions. Brian, tell us about the sewer system and what is there and what, if anything, you've changed regarding the sewer system.
I haven't changed anything. The sewer system that was coming out of that building has been there since the property was there way before those homes were ever there. Those homes were built on the existing greenhouse property. I didn't change the location of the existing sewer. I never altered it. It may have been altered when they built that development, but I never changed it. All I did was there was a blockage in the line due to tree roots and I never knew where the sewer went when I purchased it. And as that is my line of work. So to clean the sewer and do maintenance on the sewer, I found it. And then that's when all the neighbors got upset finding out that my sewer went through their property and into their neighborhood. Again, when that neighborhood was built, I feel that the inspectors didn't do their job and make sure that the sewer was going to the right place, or where does it go after? Again, I did not own the property then. This has been here since 1920. But the existing sewer that is there has been there that long. All I did was clean the line. I never changed it.
Brian, what, if any, plumbing have you added to the new structure that you constructed that we're asking for the variance on?
Not much. I mean, I have a trench drain at the bottom of the hill there to help with flooding over the hill for the people on Marcy. There is water that comes down the hill from when Mother Nature built the land. I mean, those houses are in a hole down there, and unfortunately, they're going to have wet areas. That's not contributed to me, though.
Did you add any plumbing, sinks, toilets to the new structure that you built?
No.
And somebody mentioned something about self-storage. What plans, if anything, do you have to put self-storage on this property?
Well, we have to address the pole barn. I need to get the permits for that, and that was told by Tom Vanover that it wouldn't be a big deal. We get the permits and we'll be okay. I would love to put self-storage on that property, but I did actually meet with Jamie from Old Brooklyn Community Development to discuss that when we purchased it. And there's been other talks prior to me, but I think this has nothing to do with that. This issue we have today with the variance is for the pole barn to get that taken care of.
And the pole barn has nothing to do with self-storage.
Correct. This pole barn here is for my equipment and my tools that the neighbors were complaining about were sitting out in the yard.
Do you have tractor trailers that come in and out of the property?
I have a gentleman who parks his actually a neighbor that parks his semi trailer there, tractor, no tractor trailers though. I will get an occasional dump truck with stone to dump stone in our stone bin that is there. But I think it's a little extreme on the traffic that what they're saying. We don't run our business there. We may go there in the morning and stop there one time during the day, but this is not our main office. This is just a yard where we keep our equipment.
Thank you. Nothing further. Appreciate it. And again, respectfully request that you grant the variance, as this is really not much of a change from what we already had. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I'll open it up to my board now for any questions.
Madam Chair, I may have missed this, but did we actually have city planning weigh in on this?
We did not. Yes, Maurice.
I think you're still muted.
Thank you. Sorry about that, Madam Chair. Maurice Rowland, City Planning. Yeah, to the applicant, what is the actual business that's taking place on this property?
It is storage for a plumbing business. The business is Invisible Excavations. The McDermott Trust owns the property, but then the McDermott's own Invisible Excavations. So one of the two uses is for that purpose. And again, it's mostly storage for that business. And then there's a tenant who also stores things for a business that's somewhat related, a plumbing type of a business where they also do some remediation work for people who've had flooded properties. If somebody has a flooded basement, for example, they go in, they remediate all the materials out of there, and then they fix the place up and stop it from flooding.
Okay, thank you. Just wanted to clarify, because that does not seem to be what's written in the notice of nonconformance. It says greenhouse warehouse use. So just wanted to clear up on that. So we don't condone, obviously, building structures without permits. As Mr. Riccardi stated, the Department of Building and Housing was open the entire time during the pandemic. So we really don't condone that type of activity at all. I want to say that the plumbing issues that the residents are talking about is very interesting. I can't comment on whether, you know, I don't have any further details on that, and it's not really relevant to this permit as to the overall sewage and drainage issues in the area. And because this garage, pole barn, whatever you wanted, the structure that you doesn't have any additional plumbing features being added to it, I don't know that they're actually contributing to any of the problems that are going on in the neighborhood with respect to sewage. I do think that the Department of Waste Control should probably be involved in any further discussions with the neighborhood. Hopefully the councilwoman can maybe can coordinate that. I would say that we do not object to allowing the garage / pole barn to exist. So we are not going to object to the permit.
All right, thank you. Okay, thanks, Alana. I can't believe I didn't write it down. That's why I skipped you. Sorry, Maurice. Okay, board, any questions?
I do have a question. So to Mr. McDermott, Madam Chair, and his council, do you plan to rent to additional tenants, or the work that's happening here is what will be happening here? I mean, there seems to be some concern about self-storage and other tenants.
I understand that. That is all rumor, ma'am, but no, nothing will be added without approval from the city.
If I may, I think that whole rumor was started, I guess if you want to call it a rumor, because there was some inquiry made that the McDermotts were inquiring, is this something we can do? And it seems like nobody wants it. Seems like it's something the city wouldn't grant. So, you know, put an end to that. That's not something that's that they're really seriously considering. It's just something that somebody was talking about for a while. So no, this has nothing to do with self-storage. The tenant that's there, it uses a very little bit of the space, and that's it. Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate it.
And to city planning or Mr. Riccardi, the actual site that we're talking about, it's residential zoning, not commercial, as the county records show?
Yes, Madam Chair, or Madam Chair, to Ms. Brown, yes, the zoning in the area is two-family. I'm sorry, one family, as you can see on this map here.
So the self-storage would never be permitted anyways without coming here?
That is correct. And you know what, I want to add one other thing to my staff recommendation. We would definitely oppose the addition of self-storage or expansion of any further uses on this property as far as commercial goes. This is zoned a two-family. This is a non-conforming existing use. And as long as it doesn't expand any further, we would be okay with it. But we definitely are against self-storage.
Thank you. My last question. If you could go back to the visual that shows West Shaft Road. Great. So, no, that, the one you just had.
The aerial?
Yeah, the aerial. Thank you. So it looks like to the left where that sort of curb cut is. No, that's right. Yeah. Is that where sir, do you have the semi trucks coming in there and driving behind the backs of those other properties?
I have, yes. I mean, depending on who delivers stone, but I'm not a trucking company.
Can they
Again, if
come
I,
in where it says Hinckley Avenue instead of driving that
oh,
route?
they can, sure. I mean, yes.
Well, so you're coming to us to ask that we grant, or as our chairperson said, forgive the construction after the fact. So I think as being a good neighbor, you might want to make a concession to your neighbors and use your Hinckley Avenue access for trucks rather than driving behind people's homes.
Do that. We can definitely do that.
All right. Madam Chair, that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Board, any other questions?
May I speak as a
Madam
resident?
Chair,
I was asking board if they had any questions right now, though.
Yeah, I just. Okay. Madam Chair, this has been extensive comment on this case. Maurice, could you please put up the actual variance, since I am working.
You don't have to talk on your phone. It's this microphone that's catching it, not your phone.
Thank you.
and Madam Chair, to Ms. Faith, I just want to reiterate that we are not supporting the variance. We are just not we are not objecting.
Objecting to the, got it.
Right. Since I'm having technical difficulties this morning and I'm working off my phone, I just wanted to reread this before I move forward. So several points here. You're coming to the appellant, you're coming before us for forgiveness, not approval. The pole barn has already been constructed. Your photographs show that the new construction does fall within the old footprint of the old building. However, as was noted, and this happens more often than I think people would expect, that people think that when they tear down a new building and build a new building, they still are under the same variances of the building that pre-existed. This happens frequently here before us. And so once the old building is raised, any variances attached to that, usage, that changes. So the new building is a whole different ballgame. It seems to me that with the public comment, the comments from the CDC, and the comments from the councilwoman, who stated that she strenuously opposes this, while city planning does not object, your councilperson and your neighbors do. And it seems to me that the point of access to the business, you are in a single family area, you're running a business, you may not be accessing in and out as your primary location, but just looking at the aerial views, there's different access points. You're running behind other people's residences. And there's also the issue of drainage and sewage and things like that that really need to be addressed. So with all that being said, Madam Chair, I move that we deny the variance for calendar number 22-226.
Thank you. Can I have a second, please?
Madam Chair, I second, but I have a question before we vote.
Okay.
What happens when something is built and we deny a variance? I've not experienced that.
If it's denied, they'll have to remove it.
Thank you for answering.
So that was a second from Ms. Brown.
Yeah, that's it.
Want to get your hand up somehow.
All right, thank you. Maurice, can you mute these people? I'm not sure what's going on here.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. So we have a second from Ms. Brown. Go ahead, call the roll, please.
Ms. Holzer,
Yes.
Ms. Brown,
No.
Ms. Vaith,
Yes.
Ms. Britt.
No.
Okay, Madam Chair, we have a tie vote. Therefore, I believe that means that the building and housing decision stands and the variance is essentially denied.
Okay. Thank you. Next case.
Madam
Chair, this is Board Member Roque. I just want to state that I am on the call now. I'm so sorry. I've had a lot of computer issues today, so I'm on my phone.
All right. Thank you.
I'm going to go ahead and read the next case then. So we have calendar number 23-004. This is at 9721 Union Avenue. Regis Williams proposes to establish use as residential facility for 5 occupants in a B12 family residential district. The owner appeals for relief from the strict application of the Cleveland Codified Ordinances as stated in the agenda and the public record, of which there are, I've written 3, but it looks like there's only 2. And with that, I will hand it over to Ms. Brown for the oath.
Thank you. I'm swearing in all who are present for this case. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the whole truth and nothing but the truth? Please raise your hand, reply, I do. State your name and your address, please.
Lavita Parker for Council President Blaine Griffin, 601 Lakeside Avenue, room 220.
Someone here for this case, the appellant? Ms. Regis Williams?
All right.
Madam
We'll
Chair,
hold on to.
thank you. If you would like to go on, we can reach out by phone to the applicant.
Yeah, I'll hold on until we get to the last case.
Okay, thank you.
See if they can come in. Sorry about that, Ms. Parker, if you don't mind holding on.
No worries, I will. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Hello?
Oh, someone, Madam Chair,
Hello?
here's someone.
Hello?
Yeah.
Hello?
We hear you. Who's speaking, please?
Regis Williams.
All right.
Okay.
Did you hear the oath?
Yes.
Then please raise your hand, reply, I do, state your name and your address.
I do. Regis Williams, 9721 Union Avenue, Cleveland, Ohio, 44105.
Thank you. Anyone else here for this case? Madam Chair.
Thank you. History of the property, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This property was originally zoned general retail in 1929. In 1972, it was changed to the current 2-family residential. In our Records Administration Office, we found that in 1912, a permit was issued to erect a frame dwelling. And then in the more recent history, we see that there Actually, Madam Chair, there was no violation issued for this permit. I'm sorry, for the complaint. So I will not be reading that into the record, and it looks like that's all that we have. Thank you.
Thank you. Legal standard, please.
Madam Chair, members of the board, appellant is requesting a use variance from the requirements of the zoning code. To obtain the use variance, appellant must prove that denying the request will result in an unnecessary hardship particular to the property, such that there will be no economically feasible use of the property without the variance, will deprive the appellant of substantial property rights, and that granting the variance will not be contrary to the purpose and intent of the zoning code.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Williams, tell us what you want to do.
I wanted to open up a senior citizen or like a disability, people with disability, assisted living, people that need, can get around and can function on their own, but may need a little assistance to, live a better, more useful, can get around more mobile life. This property was actually my dad's property. He's a bishop. He left it to me when he passed in 2017, and he always been very helpful to the community and to people. And I just wanted to, do something that I know he would want. So I think it'll be very beneficial to whoever had whoever come to the residence and receive the service. So that's what I want to do for the community.
Okay, can you tell us a little bit about the business, like how many, employees you would have, how many people you're looking to have in the, how many people you're looking to have in the house, or will you be distributing medication, those kind of.
Right. So it'll be a house of a family of 5 living residents. I believe that's what it's called. That's the one that I was approved for. As far as the workers, I intend to have maybe like 7 to 10 workers. Also, a RN to come in and yes, distribute medicine, meals, preparation. 3 meals a day, exercise, activities. If they need to go to like appointments or, grocery shopping or anything like that, I provide the ride for them. Just taking care of like they overall well-being, just being just an assistant to them.
Okay, and will it be staffed 20? I'm sure they'll be there 24/7, but will it be staffed 24/7, or will you just have certain shifts?
No, yeah, it'll be staffed 24/7. It'll be certain shifts. Yeah, it'll be first, second, and third shift.
Okay. And have you talked to any of your neighbors about this?
I have, yes.
Which neighbors have you talked to?
I forget the guy name, but it's the house that's right in back of the property. I spoke with him about it, and I also I tried to get in touch with. Well, he didn't mind because he was actually my dad's friend, and he didn't mind. And I also tried to get in touch with Blaine Griffin, the councilman, but to my understanding, when I reached out, he was tied up in other things where he couldn't meet with me at the time. So I left a message with his secretary, and I also emailed his secretary and Blaine Griffin to get with him. And because the guy who came and put the sign in the yard, he told me I might want to reach out to him. So definitely trying to, but like I said, he was and still is pretty busy, so I couldn't get a hold to him.
All right, thanks. City planning?
Madam Chair, can we hear from the councilman's representative, Levita Parker?
Okay, go ahead, Ms. Parker.
Good morning, everyone. Representing Council President Griffin. Council President opposed. He wants to talk to Mr. Williams, and he requests a continuance on this case. So he opposed the request for right now until he talked to Mr. Williams.
Madam Chair, City Planning would definitely support a postponement until the councilman has a chance to meet with the applicant.
Okay, Mr. Williams, Ms. Parker, do you have Mr. Williams' contact information?
Yes, I do.
Okay, Mr. Williams, look for Ms. Parker to contact you so that you can get a meeting with the councilman so you can, tell him what you want to do. I think that'll be better for you to get that done before you come back to us. Are you okay with that?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay, great. So Ms. Parker, please contact Mr. Williams and we'll give you, is 30 days enough time, Ms. Parker?
Yes, ma'am. Right now, the budget hearing is happening,
Yes.
budget retreat, and that's it starts tomorrow and ends March 3rd. So,
All right.
Busy.
yeah.
Yeah. So, Liz, we'll give them, what's that last date in March?
March 27th is the last week.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll give you that date, 3/27.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, what's our next case?
Our next case is calendar number 23-005. This is an appeal to a public works invoice at 12714 Beechwood Avenue. Rand Williette appeals under the authority of section 76-6B of the Charter of the City of Cleveland and sections 329.02D of the Cleveland Codified Ordinances from the decision of the hearing officer dated December 22nd, 2022 to uphold the City of Cleveland's Department of Public Works to issue invoice WO-7010-1402048 regarding abating nuisances, parenthetically grass cutting at the subject property. And with that, I will hand it over to Ms. Brown for the oath.
I'm swearing in all who are present for this case. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the whole truth and nothing but the truth? Please raise your hand, reply, I do, state your name and your address, please.
Okay. My name is
Natasha
Rand.
Brewster.
Address.
Okay, hold on, one at a time.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I do, Natasha Brewster, 500 Lakeside Avenue.
I do, Loranda Talton, 601 Lakeside Avenue, room 122.
Ms. Willette, please swear in.
Okay, my name is Willette Rand, address 12708 Beechwood Avenue, Cleveland, Ohio, 44105. And I do.
Thank you.
And this is Eric. Go ahead. Eric.
Oh, Eric.
You guys raise your hand.
State your name and address, please, sir.
State your name and address.
Eric Spiegner. Address 12708 Beechwood.
No, your address on Rockside. That's the one because you coming.
24950 Rockside Road, apartment 401, Bedford Heights, Ohio, 44146.
Got it. Thank you. Madam Chair.
Thank you. Legal standard, please.
Madam Chair, members of the board, appellant is appealing an administrative decision of the Department of Public Works hearing officer. The standard of review to be applied is whether the administrative decision was illegal, arbitrary, capricious, unreasonable, or unsupported by the preponderance of substantial, reliable, and probative evidence. If appellant fails to meet this burden, the administrative decision must be affirmed.
Thank you. Okay, Ms. Rand. Go ahead.
Okay. Okay, now I just have a question for us. You know, they said the cutting of my grass, and I understand that you all couldn't give me that information, but I'm telling you that I always keep my grass cut, my hedges trimmed, my trees trimmed. So I don't know who could have said that they came out to cut my grass. I even have Eric here, he cuts it all the time. I have Grover Horn that comes out and cut my grass. I mean, that's when I couldn't understand, you know, who is cutting my grass. And then the date that I have here that they said that they cut it, was it June 21st? Was it June?
Yeah.
I think it said Tuesday, June 21st. So I had to go all the way back. And I remember my daughter's birthday is June the 12th. And I had my grass cut on June the 18th because I was giving a little dinner party for her at my house. And most of the time, usually I have that yard set up with like tables and, you know, chairs for guests. Or sometime I just have a, you know, we just have a family affair, fish fry right there. So I can understand, you know, why someone would say they came out and cut my grass.
Ms. Rand,
You know,
is this a lot next door to your house or something?
yes, ma'am.
Okay, and you own that lot?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, thanks,
Mhm.
Maurice. All right, now I see now.
I believe the house across the street, I have noticed, sometime I look out the window, and I have noticed that the city be cutting the grass across the street. I noticed that. And then I just look out and then I don't say anything. And I also call my councilman several times and I talk to Naila, she'll verify it, that, you know, the grass be so high across the street and it makes my yard look bad. So, you know, she said, you know, she got right on it and they came out and cut the grass. So I don't know if it's somebody that saw my lot and just put it in and say they cut my grass. I don't know.
Okay, well, I'll call on Ms. Brewster. Maybe she can give us a timeline of what happened exactly.
Okay.
Okay, I was sent the original protest on October 17th. It was denied because she stated that she had a landscaper that maintained the property but did not send in the proper documentation, so it was denied, and the hearing form was sent attached with the denial letter. She was set a hearing. I sent out the hearing over 30 days in advance, which was, she was supposed to show December 21st, 2022 at 9:30, and she never showed for the hearing with me. And now we're here today. I never got any proof or any pictures that we're seeing today.
Oh, so what we're seeing today, Ms. Brewster, you never received any of this?
I never received anything. She never showed up for my hearing.
Okay, and what date was her hearing again?
December 21st at 9:30.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Ms. Rand, is there a reason why you did not show up for your hearing?
Because, ma'am, I never received the letter, so I called down to find out, you know, when was my hearing. That's when she stated to me that she sent me out a letter, and I said, well, I never received that letter. Okay, so I called and asked her to send me the letter that she sent me, which she did. She sent me the letter. It's the second letter. This was what she sent me, but I never received it. And if it was around Christmas time, I was at home. I don't even really celebrate Christmas, but I would have been at this hearing. And I got the letter, the second letter that she sent me. I got that one, but the first one, I never received it.
Okay, I forget because grass cutting, this is way past the grass cutting time. Miss Brewster, so if they missed the first hearing, are they allowed to then reschedule another one with you? Or do they have to automatically appeal and come to us?
It automatically appealed to come to you all.
Okay. All right. And what's the fine right now for this?
The fine is $302.40.
Okay. All right. Ms. Talton, is anything you want to add?
I just have a question, just for clarity, because I don't always attend these meetings.
Mhm.
Is if the appellant are there pictures to show that, when the crew cut the grass, are those available for us to see? Or once we reach this point, it's really just determining that, what are we determining? I'm sorry, just for clarity.
Yeah, so the point, yeah, go ahead, Ms. Brewster. Yeah.
That the services was provided and no documentation was sent in for me to be able to remove the charge from Ms. Rand parcel.
When the crew cuts the grass, and again, this is for my clarification, are there isn't there a before and after pic?
Yes.
Okay.
Since 2019, they are required to take a before and after picture of the property.
Do we have that before and after picture?
Yes, I would like to see that.
Let's see. Hold on for just a
Madam
moment.
Chair, I do not have that picture, but if somebody wants to email it to me, I'll be happy to display it.
I can't get in the system right now. The system is down. CityWorks is not letting me log in right now.
Mhm. And also, may I say something too?
Yes.
I also had the movie at my house, and it was called White Boy Rick, and the producer and they all came to my house. Even Matthew McConaughey said I had the most cleanest house and yard, and they wanted to use that property. And I agreed to them to use the property. And he had to dirty up my house, and because my house was too clean and my yard was too nice, they said if they messed up my yard, they would repair it. I said, please do, because I worked so hard in this yard. Mainly when there was a house there, I had to remove rocks, and I mean, I really worked hard in that yard.
All right, I saw that movie. I'm gonna have to go back now and pay attention to your house and that. That's funny. Okay, so what we have here is essentially, for whatever reason, the city ended up cutting your grass, and because you missed the hearing and weren't able to supply the proof that you normally get your grass cut, is why we're here today. So we kind of get these fairly often toward the middle and end of the summer, because it starts to happen and people are complaining about high grass in certain areas. So
because I'm one of them that complains about high grass.
Yeah.
Yes.
But essentially, what we have to do here is prove if the city was wrong for cutting your grass, and then if you did not follow up with what you were supposed to do with with the hearing. So that's kind of what we have to determine today.
Okay. Would they allow me to see a picture of the contractor that cut the yard? Will I be able to see that?
No, not as of right now. I can't get into the system, Ms.
I
Rand.
mean, later on down the line, would I be able to see that?
I can actually ask my commissioner if I can send them to you at a later date.
Okay. Okay.
That would be fine.
Okay.
All right, board, normally in these situations, we kind of see that both sides did what they were supposed to do, so we kind of try to work out a middle ground agreement here. So, I'll leave it up to you to make the decision.
Madam Chair, typically when these come up, particularly with our older residents, we offer them some grace and a discount on the fee. And typically the fees are much larger than this. This is, I think it was stated $302.40.
Yep.
So, and given the fact that the hearing was the 21st of December, I might be inclined to give more grace than usual on this, if my colleagues want to weigh in on that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Madam Chair, this is Board Member Roca. Is there a possibility to postpone to allow the appellant to get what she needs to get to the city? And then could there be another hearing? I'm just trying to work through the procedural posture
No.
in my mind.
Yeah, no. So normally what we try to determine is if so if the city was incorrect in cutting the grass or didn't need to cut the grass because she has someone that cuts it, it's on her to then go to her hearing and prove that to Ms. Brewster. And normally Ms. Brewster waives that if the appellant comes and shows that they normally have someone cut the grass. But if they miss the hearing, then that's when it comes to us. So we have to make the determination at the time. And we normally don't postpone these. Sometimes we either just waive the fee altogether or we'll decrease the fee to where it's not as much as it is at the point. So that's kind of where we are right now, is Miss Faith is asking, is trying to figure out what's the best percentage to have this woman pay versus what she owes right now.
Thank you for that.
Madam Chair, so on, there was a handwritten note I saw, like the letter from maybe Miss Brewster, that said something, was $50 already paid?
Yes, ma'am.
So
Yeah.
let's accept that, Madam Chair.
Yeah, that's for $50.
Yeah, the $50, is that for the hearing, Ms. Brewster?
No,
for
she didn't
hearing.
say anything. That's for you all, for the Bowser hearing, $50, not for me.
Oh, that's what I thought. Yeah, that's not.
I didn't
going to
realize
her.
that.
Yeah, that wasn't going to her ballot. So just need someone to, propose a fee. It could
So
be,
I'm sorry, what was the $50 for?
that's for to come into us. That's not on her. That's not going towards her balance that
Okay.
she owes.
All right. So she paid the $50 to come to us, and in this particular situation, since it's unfortunate that it ended up with us, but I'm going to propose that we reduce the fee to $50, so the total payment in is $100.
All right, can I have a second
Member
on that?
Brown, I second.
Ms. Brown with the second. So go ahead and call the roll. The motion is we uphold the city's decision, but we will reduce the fee from $302.40 to $50.
Thank you so much. Thank you. The city had just lowered my taxes, and I'm faithful.
Hold on, Ms. Rand, we're in the process right now, so hold on one sec.
Oh, I'm sorry.
All right, so we have a motion and a second. Go ahead, call the roll.
Thank you. Ms. Holzer?
Yes.
Ms. Roca?
Yes.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Faith?
Yes.
Ms. Britt?
Yes.
Calendar number 23-005 is denied or granted conditionally. We'll work out that language after. And we will send the appellant a letter once it's ratified when we meet again on February 27th. Again, the details are that it's the fine has been reduced to $50. So in conjunction with the fee that was paid for this hearing, the appellant is responsible for a total of $100. And again, we will send out documentation of this after this is ratified on the 27th.
With proof.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Rand.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next case.
Our next case is calendar number 23-006. This is at 2161 West 28th Street. Luis Hernandez, owner, proposes to erect a 2-story frame, 2-family residence with attached garage in a B12 family residential district. The owner appeals for relief from the strict application of the Cleveland Codified Ordinances, as stated in the agenda and the public record, of which there are 3. And with that, I will hand it over to Ms. Brown for the oath.
I'm swearing in all who are present for this case. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the whole truth and nothing but the truth? Please raise your hand. Reply, I do. State your name and your address, please.
I do. Paul Began Architectural Design, 15703 Madison.
Luis Hernandez, 2161.
I did not hear that. Who was that?
I do. Luis Hernandez, 2160.
I do. Christopher Buchanan, 2149 West 28th Street.
Okay, Madam Chair.
Thank you. History of the property, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. There's been no change in the zoning since 1929. In our Records Administration Office, we found that permits were issued in 1913 to repair a roof on this address. And then, Madam Chair, we see that in 2017, a permit was issued to demolish a 2-story frame single-family dwelling. And that's all that I have that's relevant. Thank you.
Thank you. Legal standard, please.
Madam Chair, members of the board, appellant is requesting area variances from the rear yard, maximum gross floor area, minimum lot size, and minimum lot width requirements of the zoning code. To obtain the area variances, appellant must prove that denying the request will create practical difficulty not generally shared by other land or buildings in the same district, will deprive the appellant of substantial property rights, and that granting the variances will not be contrary to the purpose and intent of the zoning code.
All right, thank you. Who will be the spokesperson for this case?
I will. This is Paul Began, architect for the project here.
Okay, go ahead, Mr. Began.
Yes, this is typical of many infill lots that this board sees on a regular basis. The Hernandezes are relocating from New York to bring their family to Cleveland and raise them here in this Ohio City neighborhood. The proposed house, we have reviewed this with the local design review as well as housing design review subcommittee, which we've been approved for. House being built on this infill lot. Nothing extraordinary about it. The request for variance is for minimum lot width and area, which again is typical for these type of infill lots. Interesting piece about this particular property is that there is access to an alley off of Hancock Avenue, of which we will be able to have access for the garage, which is in the rear of the yard for this lot. Other than that, again, fairly typical for an infill housing lot in Cleveland's neighborhoods.
Okay, did Mr. Hernandez want to add anything?
At this time, other than.
Thank you. Mr. Buchanan?
Not at this time.
All right, city planning?
Madam Chair, Maurice Rollins with City Planning. Yes, as Mr. Began stated, these are typical variances that we grant for infill housing in our neighborhoods. They are not requesting any kind of side yard variances, so we don't feel that this lot is being overbuilt. It's mostly because it's 3 stories is the reason why we're getting variance number 2. The rear yard is 20 feet. It's only a 9-foot reduction, actually less than 9-foot reduction. So we think that the rear yard is fine. We would recommend approval on this project.
Thank you. Board, any questions?
Madam Chair, the only question I have, I just want to clarify, did the architect for the appellant say that they were approved at the local design review? I think I heard that, but I want to confirm.
Yes, I believe we did present in front of local design review for this one.
Thank you.
Any other questions, board?
Hearing none, Madam Chair, I'll go to a motion.
Go ahead.
All right. We have Mr. Began does a lot of these homes, so he knows the situation. The asset in this particular situation is that there's an alley to have rear access to the garage, so that's great. As Mr. Ruland stated, there are no side yard variances, minimal change to the rear setback. And as noted by Mr. Ruland, it's the 3rd floor that's really triggering variance number 2. This is pretty standard, particularly in this area of the city. So with that being said, on this infill house, I move that we go ahead and approve calendar number 23-006.
Thank you. Can I have a second, please?
Board Member Holzer, I second.
Ms. Holzer with the second. Go ahead, call the roll.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Roca?
Yes.
Ms. Holzer?
Yes.
Ms. Faith?
Yes.
Ms. Britt?
Yes.
Calendar number 23-006 is granted. It'll be ratified on February 27th when we meet again, and then we will send the appellant a letter.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, the next 2 cases, are they together?
Their numbers are slightly different as far as the variances, but they're essentially together.
Okay, well, we'll read them both then.
Sounds good. So we have first calendar number 23-023. This is at 2302 West 6th Street. J. Knoll Inc. owner proposes to erect a 3,050 square foot 3-story frame single-family residence with attached garage in a B12 family residential district. The owner appeals for relief from the strict application of the Cleveland Codified Ordinances stated in the agenda and the public record, of which there are 2. We also have calendar number 23-024. This is at 2296 West 6th Street. Again, J. Knoll Inc. proposes to erect a 3,241 square foot 3-story frame single-family residence with attached garage in a B12 family residential district. The owner appeals for relief from the strict application of the Cleveland Codified Ordinances as stated in the agenda and the public record, of which there are 3 for this one. And with that, I will hand it over to Ms. Brown for the oath.
Thank you. Swearing in all who are present for this case. And I believe this is our final case. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the whole truth and nothing but the truth? Please raise your hand. Reply, I do. State your name and your address, please.
I do. Max Kramer, speaking on behalf of the LLC that owns this property. I live at 1025 Starkweather Avenue in Cleveland, Ohio, 44113.
And I do. I'm Joseph Matava from Peninsula Architects, architect on the project. Address is 1775 Main Street, Peninsula, Ohio, 44264.
I do. Donna Gregonis with the Development Corporation, Tremont West Development Corporation, 2406 Professor Avenue.
Anyone else? Madam Chair.
Thank you. History of the properties.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This project area was originally zoned general retail in 1929. In 1962, it was changed to the current two-family residential district. In our Acela system, we found that in 1996, permits were issued, violations were issued, noting that the property needs to be condemned. And then in 2008, we see that there were at least 5 vacant lot cleanup payments made for this address, for this area, I'm sorry. And then, Madam Chair, we see that in September of last year, there was an application to engineering and construction and plats to split the parcel. And there are no variances on file, and there was nothing of note also in the Records Administration Office. That's all I had. Thank you.
Thank you. Legal standard, please.
Madam Chair, members of the board, appellant is requesting area variances from the rear yard and maximum gross floor area requirements of the zoning code. And additionally, in calendar number 23024 at 2296 West 6th Street, they are requesting an area variance from the minimum distance requirement of the zoning code. To obtain the area variances, appellant must prove that denying the request will create a practical difficulty not generally shared by other land or buildings in the same district, will deprive the appellant of substantial property rights, and that granting the variances will not be contrary to the purpose and intent of the zoning code.
Thank you. All right, who will be the spokesperson?
Hi, I'll be speaking on behalf of this. So yes, as was stated, so as you can see here.
Just say who you are before you start talking. Okay, go ahead. Thank you.
All right, so as was stated, so we were looking to buy these properties 2 Junes ago. And before we did so, we worked with Matt Moss in the design committee. So we kind of walked through all the variances that we would need, walked them through the designs as we were developing these, and got approval last year for these designs that you're seeing here. One of the requirements we needed for this footprint was it was 3 lots that were about 30 feet wide. So we did a consolidation and plat split just to give additional width to these properties so that we could fit the garage on the rear of the rear half of the property, because that is another building code that that we were aware of from the start. So we kind of designed these around that. But yeah, just 2 single family homes, just due to the width and the shorter nature of these. That's why we're requesting the variance on the rear backyard. And then as stated, it's a 3-story house. So we're just requesting the variance for the square footage of the property. Other than that, nothing too specific. All the side yards meet the building codes. So 3 foot off the sides and then off the front and the back. The only thing for the one house on the right that you see here, so we have the distance to the side yard, but then there is a house next door that their garage is right up to the edge of the property line on their side. So that is the 3rd variance that we're requesting, just for that alleviation of that distance, just because they're up to the edge of their property, but we have the distance on our side.
Great, thank you. Mr. Matava, did you want to add anything?
The only thing that I would add to what Mr. Kramer said is that the footprints are in line with some of the newer structures that are being built in that area, and so we feel that it's within the proper context.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. And then one more thing, I was just going to say there are other houses that are being built on this street, and they've all applied for the same dimensions and variances. So it's consistent with the other houses on the street, just because it is a bit of a narrow street compared to other lots in the area.
All right, and that was Mr. Kramer speaking, correct?
Yes, sorry.
Yeah. All right. Ms. Gregonis.
Hi, good morning. Nice to meet you virtually, Mr. Kramer and Mr. Matava. I'm Donna Gregonis from Tremont West Development Corporation. I understand that you guys haven't gone through to the block club. Is that correct?
So no, when we were working with Matt, I think he said you can go to the block club or you could go through the housing design review subcommittee. So that was just the option that we took. That was kind of just based on discussions with him. So that's.
Yeah, no, I understand. For some reason, sometimes some of these projects that come through, we end up seeing them here at BZA first. It's standard in our service area on Tremont that any project seeking a variance would go before the community process, that the councilman also backs as well. So this hasn't gone through the community process, and so I'm sorry to tell you here, but I just wanted to see if there's a way that we can request that this does go through the full community process, just like those other houses on West 6th that you noted. I'm assuming people would like it, but again, I don't know. I haven't seen enough of this, and this is the first time I'm hearing about it or seeing about anything about this. So, so I'll just ask the board if they would consider, you know, seeing if this could still go through that community process. So thank you very much.
Thank you. City Planning.
Maurice Rowland, City Planning, Madam Chair. First of all, before I forget, we have no problem recommending that the applicant go through the community process, go and meet with the block club and get their approvals. We'll leave it up to you whether you make that a condition, you know, or hold up ratification until that happens. But on the issues of the variances, we are supportive of the variances. Again, they do actually meet their side yard distances. It is unfortunate that the house looking here at this picture on the left-hand side was granted a variance back in May of 2007 with a 1.2-foot side yard when they constructed that garage. So yeah, that's and I'm bringing that up because I just want to reiterate why we should not be granting those variances in the future. So I asked the applicant, will we have a fire-rated wall on the left structure that is less than 6 feet from the adjoining structure?
Yes, we will have a hardy board exterior, and we will use type X drywall on the inside of that wall.
Okay, so you'll probably have to go to the Board of Building Standards potentially to get a variance for that. I'm not 100% sure on that, but yeah, we want to make sure that wall is fire rated. Otherwise,
yeah, that would be an item that would come up during plan review.
Correct. Right. Which happens after the zoning review. So we would recommend approval of both of these structures.
All right, thank you. I'll open it up to the board. I think when we've had this before, when the variances are fairly light, that if we do recommend approval, that we just hold up ratification until they've had a block club meeting. So I'll leave that up to the board, but so any questions or comments?
I guess I have more of a comment than a question, since Mr. Rowland's already brought up the point of the fire-rated wall, which is usually my sticking point when we are in close proximity to a neighbor's house. So to the architect and the project team, we're going to request that you make sure that you meet or exceed the code standards for fire rating on that wall adjacent to the neighbor's garage. It is of some relief that you're mitigating the circumstances using hardy board, which is a cementitious product with fire retardant properties by the nature of it. So that will be the only thing. And it looks to me like we're looking at a permeable surface for the driveways. Is that correct to the architect?
Yes, we're proposing a paver system that would have gaps between there with a gravel base underneath that would allow the water to go down into that surface, and then we'll have a drain in there.
And where's that gonna drain to? The storm sewer or?
Yes, there's a storm sewer on the, adjacent to the property.
Okay, all right, great. Okay, so say that you've been working throughout with the city planner for this area, is that correct? Throughout the development of this project?
Yes, that's correct. Joe and myself met with Matt even before we bought the land itself, just so we could understand the variance process and then the dimensions that we were confined by to build around and what we'd need to seek variances for. So.
Okay, great.
And we've also, with Matt, went through, I believe it's called the Appearance Review Committee. It was a
Housing Design Review Subcommittee, HDRS.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for that clarity. We went through that board regarding our design and materials and landscape. They came back with some comments that we addressed to Matt Moss's satisfaction.
Okay, great, thank you. All right, so, Madam Chair, we know that Ms. Grigonis and the CDC and the city council person for the area typically like everything to be funneled through their community block club meetings. I'm inclined, given the extent of the work with the city planner on this, to not make that a condition of the variance, should we vote to approve this. But to be good neighbors, it is my suggestion that the project team meet with Ms. Grigonis and the block club as a courtesy and to be good neighbors. But with that said, I move that we go ahead and approve the variances for this.
All right, and we'll just say it's for calendars numbers 23-20, 023 and 024.
Yes,
All right.
thank you. I'm working on my phone, so I don't have everything in front of me like usual. So thank you for noting that.
Madam Chair, we do have Donna Grigonis with her hand raised. I don't know if you want to make a comment.
Good morning. I just wanted to reiterate that, we've had this long-standing community process for a very long time, and this councilman is very much behind us with this. And I apologize, I didn't realize that this project was as large as it was. I would have probably brought it up to the councilman's attention, and he would have requested that this get postponed. I realize now that this is at the last minute, but this is the process we've had for years. And saying that it went through with city planning, I understand and trust that, obviously the city's very inclined, but a lot of times developers get into this pickle where they are misled by saying they don't have to go through the community process. And I think approving something like this will set a standard where every single time I see a project on here, we see a project the community does, they're going to talk to the councilman, and then it's going to waste more time. So I just want to make sure that we're not falling into that trap. Because I think last year or 2 years ago, we did have a lot of issue with that. So I would just really ask that you consider that precedent you might be setting for the future here with other projects and other developers and et cetera. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Grigonis. Just as for everyone that comes before BZA, everyone likes to say we're going to set a precedent, but we're not. We're here every case individually, and we make our decisions according to the evidence that's in front of us for that case. So we won't be setting any precedent by doing each case one by one, but we understand, your position here, and we always want to make sure that that the community can see, projects that are going on in the neighborhood. So we will definitely, try to, work with you on that, but I just don't want it to be on record that we're setting any kind of precedents here, because we're not.
Thank you. I appreciate you saying that. And I'm sorry to interrupt again. I just really want to make it clear that HDRS has really been recently inconsistent at reflecting our community lens. And it really doesn't have a lot of representation from the area at all. And I think that neighborhood will be very upset in general, the community members directly surrounding this. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. We have a motion. Can I have a second, please?
Member Brown, I second.
Ms. Brown with the second. Go ahead, call the roll.
Ms. Roca,
Yes.
Ms. Holzer,
Yes.
Ms. Brown,
Yes.
Ms. Fate,
Yes.
Ms. Britt.
Yes.
Calendar numbers 23-023 and 23-024 are granted. They will be ratified when we meet again on the 27th, and then we will send the appellants a letter.
All right, thank you.
Thank you all.
All right, and please be good neighbors, like we said, and make sure you go and talk to the Block Club about what your project is.
Yeah, just Donna, can I email you directly then after this? Just,
That would be great, Max.
okay. Yeah, thank you
Yeah.
all.
Thank you.
Thank you for doing that.
Okay, old business 2 through 4 without objection.
Without objection.
Without objection.
I just want to state for the record that Board Member Roca is abstaining from the,
From number 2.
yes.
Yeah.
And actually are we not voting on one?
We're not voting on one.
Okay,
Just 2
two.
through 4.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we haven't gotten the security documentation yet, so we're waiting on that.
All right. We are done. Thank you.
All right, thank
Just
you.
reminding everybody that there's no meeting next week.
No?
Yay.
No, we
President's
have
Day.
President's Day.
Yeah, we don't have a quorum that week.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, we don't have a quorum. And then, of course, on the 27th, I will not be here, so we have Xavier is going to be sitting in for me.
All right, Xavier, drink some water that day. Get ready.
Okay.
Be
All
agile, Xavier.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, everyone. Have a good week.
Have
Thank
a good
you.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.
You
everybody.
too. Bye, everybody. Maurice, I'll get these